Everybody shouldn't have to wear them.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Isn't that the point?
That game
Yes.
I've seen.
Yeah.
All right, we're live.
Don't find at 6. 5:59. All right, it's 6 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started. I guess we need to start with the mayor.
Like I start every meeting with happy Monday unless it's a holiday. It's been a very exciting, busy, tumultuous Monday for me today. A lot of things going on within the community. Just very exciting time. We're coming off the tragedy of Brianna Ratliff, going on a week. Just crazy tragedy to happen within our community. Those type of things don't happen here, and really scary, to think of the capabilities of people, and just want to let the community know that we are a safe community, and things happen, and hopefully we don't have anything happen like that in the future. As a community, there's a GoFundMe account for funeral expenses, and they $672. Goal was $15,000. So that just shows you what kind of backing our community support. When in troubled times for family and friends, we come together. The house, I've had residents concerned about the house, and had people, local contractors, reach out to possibly demo the house. Worked with Law Director Skelton on plans. As of right now, the house is secured, and we are working through the process of taking that house down. As of right now, it's part of evidence and it's a crime scene. So at this point in time, we can't do anything with it until it's released by the county prosecutor and the sheriff's office. So just want to thank everyone for the thoughts and prayers and the financial support for the family of Brianna, and want to let everyone know once again that we are a safe community, and bad things can happen anywhere, and they did within our community, and just want to reassure the public that, that's not who we are, and things do happen. And on better news, fundraising, Jason Ross has put together a fundraiser for the art mob to come to the Heimball Park this summer, May 29th, paint the basketball court there. Fawn Arthur is a Coshocton native, and she has offered to volunteer her talents to our park. And we're working, actually 3 days, we raised $3,683 for the painting of that park. Also going to try to get some glass backboards up at the Heimball Park, and very excited about that project. This week I had filled out DORA paperwork, which is designated outdoor refreshment area. Actually, Jeff Porter worked on that project for me and had emailed that all out to you. Just need to work through some finalization of some things on that project as well. So we can talk about that. Max was actually out today with ODOT on Chestnut Street, and working on some traffic signal projects, which we've worked on grant funding for, and I'll let him go into detail about that as well. Just want to say exciting times within our community, and can't wait to keep the momentum going. So if there's any questions, I'll answer them to the best of my ability. Cherry, you have a question already?
I do. We need to ask the ordinance committee if we can put the ordinance on about the R1 resident, the duplication on farmland animals and agriculture stuff. I sent it out for everyone to review.
Right, and that's just basically cleaning up legislation. It's kind of worded 4 different ways. And we just want to lock that wording in for future questions when it comes to owning animals within the city limits of Coshocton.
How long has that been on our books?
I don't have anything here with me. I can look that up and get it back to you.
I guess I didn't know if it had been on there quite a while, or it was something that was passed after the incident in West Lafayette with the chickens or whatever it was.
I don't think so. I think that this has been on there quite a while.
Okay. No, I don't have any problem with putting that on there unless anybody else on the ordinance committee does.
For tonight?
No.
Okay.
Next meeting?
Next meeting.
Yeah, and it was just to rescind the one ordinance, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
The one section.
Yeah.
We want to go with the stronger one that's 200 feet from all lot lines, and they have to have a minimum of 5 acres.
Okay.
Is our pig still alive and well, or they gave up and got rid of him, didn't they?
He passed away.
Passed
Passed
away.
Okay.
Mark,
Like we have a paper.
what, I read through a lot of the information that you sent out about the door, but what, in your mind, what is our time frame as far as getting that, discussing that and getting it enacted?
I mean, the sooner, so basically the process, and I'll have Bob basically explain the process of what we need to, next steps of this. Bob, could you explain that?
Yeah, I don't have the statute in front of me, but going by memory, we present it to council for their information. Assuming that they're okay moving forward, we then need to publish it in the newspaper for a period of time. Then it needs to be set for council approval of an ordinance or resolution, along with a public meeting, if you so choose to have one. After you pass it, then we send it, then I believe we have to advertise it again. Then it gets sent to the state for their approval, assuming we met all the elements of the statute. Jeff, do you have that in front of you? Did I do that right?
I don't have it in front of me, but yes, once it's presented here, this is just a formality. Then the next thing we need to do is go ahead and get it ready to send to the state. And then it comes back we have a hearing. And I think there's only one hearing on it, if I remember right, but I don't have it in front of me right now.
But if council isn't interested in this process, we shouldn't waste the money on advertising.
Guess it takes me back to my original question. If we were to approve this idea, what is your goal as far as getting it? I know Mark said as soon as possible, but with some of the timeframes as established, are we talking about, Memorial Day weekend, July 4th weekend? What's the goal?
I would say July 4th would be pushing it, because once we send it to the state, who knows how long it'll take them to review it and get back to us.
Right. And with that said, a lot of communities are jumping on board with this. So I think the sooner we get ours to the state, the quicker the process is going to be, because a lot of others are starting to jump on board with the designated outdoor refreshment areas. So I think the sooner the better, and go from there.
So when and what do you need from city council?
Just at this point, whether or not you generally approve of the idea, so that then we can proceed with the next step.
So should we talk about
Yeah.
that right now?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How many locations do we even possibly see would fit the
He
criteria?
sent a list.
Okay, I can speak to that if you want me to.
Sure.
The DORA has to be no more than 150 contiguous acres. So we took a line from Walnut and 7th. I took it down to Walnut and Water Street. Then went north on Water Street to the Eagles property. From there, I went west to the river, clear, then north to the bridge, across the bridge and out to Clary Gardens. I did speak with Jandy and they're excited to have their Clary Gardens included. So I included all the property at Clary Gardens. I included the parking lot on White Woman Street at the college. And then I went back to White Woman Street and behind all the properties on the west side of White Woman Street, all the way out to North White Woman Street. Went west on North White Woman Street to the new bar tap room that is supposedly going in out there. Took that property in and then also took in the parking lot behind the visitor center, and then came back down along 36 between the properties on the east side of White Woman Street and 36, and took it all the way back to Chestnut. And then Chestnut Street, we went east on Chestnut. I took in the Elks property and come back out on Chestnut, and then took it up to Chestnut and 7th Street. And that was like 113 or 118 acres. So we were well within the limits.
And that, Glenn, that's about 11, I think, just looking at it quickly, 11 to 12 establishments as far as restaurant and liquor permit holders that will benefit. I think it'll benefit overall, just having that atmosphere and just letting people enjoy refreshments. If something were to happen again with restaurants being shut down, it would give them an advantage to serve maybe outdoors. So definitely want to be on the forefront of this. There are many communities that are participating, and I believe we should be one of those as well.
Okay, I do have the rules in front of me. Basically, all we had to do was present it to council tonight. Then once it's passed tonight, there's 45 days after the application is filed with the legislative authority of a municipal corporation or township. The legislative authority shall publish public notice of the application in one newspaper. Ensure that the notice states that the application is on file in the office of the clerk of the municipal corporation, and indicate in the notice the date and time of any public hearings it will hold regarding the application. And then not earlier than 30 days and not later than 60 days after the initial publication of the notice, the legislative authority must approve or disapprove the application in an ordinance or resolution by affirmative majority vote. Give public notice like above prior to adopting an ordinance or resolution, and depending on the vote, send the notice, if approved, to the division of the department and the Department of Public Safety investigative unit that the DORA was created, including a description of the area that constitutes the DORA area.
So we need to decide tonight whether we want them to pursue it,
Really, all we have to do is present it to you tonight and make sure that the clerk has it on file. At that point, then we move forward with advertising. You don't have to vote on it or approve it tonight, but my point was, let's not waste money advertising it if there is multiple objections to this legislation.
So far, I've gotten no negative feedback from council. Everything that I've received is positive, and I think it moves us in a forward direction. So, I mean, if kind of speak now or forever hold your peace kind of thing, but I haven't heard anything negative at all. So if you have anything negative to say, please feel free to let me know, because from this point, from the point I emailed this out, I've heard nothing but good things. So if you want to talk more about it, that's fine. But any questions, any concerns, we're definitely here to answer them.
I'm just looking at the list Jeff sent out. Railroad Restaurant, Main Street Station, Sorrells, Tlaquepaque, Red Brick, Moose Lodge, Eagles Lodge, Village Inn, Huck's Tavern, Old Warehouse Restaurant, and then the Elks. He's already mentioned Cleary Gardens, Glenn, so those would be the.
Was the sheriff's office included on the distribution of this information?
I don't think you're gonna be able to drink at the sheriff's department.
No, I wondered if we had any feedback. from the sheriff's office.
No, I actually talked to Sheriff Crawford was in my office, and I brought it up and had no negative, words from Sheriff Crawford. I told him, hey, this is what I'm gonna propose. You got any issues with it? And nothing. He was in support of it. So apparently that was kind of one of my hurdles, and saying, should we do this or not? And I think he had a smile on his face when he told me he had no problems with it. So I don't look at it as a negative thing. I look at it as a positive, a way to set ourselves apart from other communities. And he had and hopefully he's on the 7 o'clock meeting and he can give you any feedback. But as far as I'm concerned, there was nothing negative out of his mouth about it. So
I think if it helps a couple businesses in town, to get over that hump and to go further, I think, hey, I'm all for it.
Now let's do it.
Yep.
Does
I
anybody
think I'm
have
good
any
with it.
objections?
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. All right. All right. Do you have anything else, Mark?
a million other things, but I won't go into them tonight.
All right. Our safety service director.
Thanks, Kaylee. First off, I apologize for not being here at the last council meeting. Vacation called, sorry. I want to thank all the residents and organizations that came out on April 17th to support our community cleanup day. We collected about 3,500 pounds of trash from along the roadways, and that weight did not include what the Weibels collected with their appliances and things. So I thought it was a good day. And that was down from last year, so hopefully that is telling the mayor that they were going in the right direction, that people aren't littering quite as much. West Lafayette water line will be live and hopefully never shut off again going on Friday of this week. We done a lot of control tuning last week on the line going up with the new equipment we installed there at the pumping station on the other side of the Sligo Apartments. And this week in fact, today we done a test filling the reservoirs. So we'll be live by Friday. We've also installed over 500 of the 900 and some meters. So that project's going very well as well. Mark talked about, I did meet with our ODOT reps today on that traffic signal grant that we received. That will actually be installed in summer of 2024. Kind of gives you an idea of how slow some of that stuff works. But today's meeting was to do a walkthrough. For the $500,000, we'll be upgrading basically the main corridor on 2nd Street. It's 2nd Chestnut, 2nd Main, 2nd Walnut. Looks like we may be able to reuse our decorative poles that the lights are on now. And if we're able to do that, I think we can also get 6th and Walnut as well under that grant. So kind of excited about where that goes. We're heavily into cemetery mowing, as you can imagine right now. And we're also, you probably seen the guys over on the new bridge getting it all dressed up and mowed. So thank God we bought the Ventrac, because that piece of equipment's invaluable over there for mowing those banks. I was not here, as you know, to talk about Chief Layton retiring. But since getting back, I'm working with Shane Pyle and the Civil Service Commission on hiring a new fire chief. I think Captain Mills will be serving as our acting chief until that process is completed. We have every confidence in Captain Mills. He brings well over 20 years experience to that job. So look forward to working with him. Like I say, until we get a new fire chief hired, which is a long process. They'll have to be tested. Right now, we're shooting for July 1st to administer those tests. And it'll not only be a written test, it'll also be an oral interview with the Fire Chiefs Association. So we will have to spend a little money. They charge to come in and do that for us. But the Civil Service Commission will be meeting to see how we're weighting tests versus oral interviews. I'll keep you apprised on that as we go forward. And as always, we're continuing to patch potholes as the asphalt companies are now making top coat, which makes for great patching material. So I know we're getting 10 tons tomorrow, which goes a pretty long ways actually. So I'm open to any questions.
Do you have something before?
Just a couple things. One, I had a resident ask me if it's possible for us to put a short summary of ordinances that we pass that would directly affect them, such as the burning ordinance or the UTV ordinance in with the water bills. I told him I'd ask.
Yeah, we need to, I'll get with Becky because there's a cost for each sheet that you put in there. Obviously the cost goes up. If we could just do a quick bullet kind of thing, we'll need a month in advance, obviously.
I'm wondering too, now that people like who registered online, they'll be getting them by email maybe too, instead of through the mail.
And I don't think they were
How that
asking
would work.
for like appropriations, or not that that's not important, Sherry, but just, our ordinances that would directly affect their daily living, property codes, and I said the burning ordinance, those fences around pools, those type of things. Just a quick summary they asked for so that everybody, for the most part, everybody would be aware of what we're doing then and understand it.
I think it's a small ask and it could be very effective.
I look at it as a way, you can go onto YouTube and watch whatever council meeting you want. So if you want to get involved, watch it or watch it later. It's all recorded. So I don't know why anyone needs a summary when everything is public, and all you got to do is hit the YouTuber and get on there and check it out. And better yet, get involved.
Well, that's if you have access to the internet and a computer or something you can access from the internet. So,
Roger, we are required by law to publish our ordinances that we pass other than the general bookkeeping type ordinances like appropriations. So Cherry and I work after each meeting as to which ordinances are published. And I assume that Cherry, they're published in the Tribune or the Beacon. I'm not sure which, but that would have, people would have access to read them there too.
well, that's an answer I can give them.
They're published in the Beacon and it's 2 consecutive weeks.
Thank you. The other issue was just something I brought up last year, and I'm hearing questions about the fire hydrants. Is there time that we're going to clean those up and paint them?
Yeah, it's on the list. We had a discussion with Tom today on it. As they do the block by block, he's wanting to paint them.
I just think it's a little thing we can do that
They
people
definitely
will
need
notice.
painted.
Yes.
I'm not disagreeing with you for sure. We have the piece of equipment they bought years ago that's called a plug hug it's an automatic wire brush basically that goes on the end of a backhoe. But then I find out from distribution that when they did try it, it destroyed a lot of our old fire hydrants. So that's no good either. So we'll continue trying to find the best way to get those painted, Roger.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we want to talk about the 4-way stop and the things that you guys sent right now? Think that'd be a good idea?
Go ahead, Don.
Okay.
Mhm.
Chad and I, as we said, did go door to door up Walnut for better part of 3 blocks. Everybody is dissatisfied with where it stands now. We tried to simply answer the question, stop signs or no stop signs. None of the conversations settled at that.
Right.
The people I spoke to and the people Chad spoke to, we didn't get exactly the same results. But for the most part, everybody said, fix the light. There's too many, there are going to be accidents. The speed goes out of town as much as into town. One guy said, remove the turn lane. People said, if nothing else, we want the signs.
Yeah.
But it was like a last resort. People want signage approaching the intersection. And one guy even said the little flashing lights that go around the signs, just to bring it to their attention. And I had more than one person complain about people passing in that block.
Going out of town.
One was specifically into town.
Yeah.
The person in front of him was driving at or near the speed limit, and somebody got impatient and went roaring around in a neighborhood where there's kids, where there's cross traffic.
Yeah, because one resident said this is a residential neighborhood. It's not a racetrack. So one person suggested maybe some speed humps at 18th Street, maybe to slow some people down. So I sent you guys all some, and Max said, ODOT, I think they'd get wore down, but I think for a couple, $400 or $500, let's stick something out there, see what happens, and if they get wore down, okay, we'll throw them away and we'll see, did we slow people down? And if so, is $500 too much to spend for some little kid to not get hit by a car going 50? I don't know. I don't know the answer, but
My thing, Chad, was I've seen those more in like an area of Roscoe or in an alley. I've never seen them on what I consider a major thoroughfare like that. So I'm not saying they wouldn't work. I've just never seen them used that way.
I think, maybe the little strips, the little, where you,
rubble strips.
because you can buy those and you can fasten them down with screws and maybe something like that, just to get your attention. Say, hey, how fast am I going?
We both posted a variety of things and make it clear they were not speed bumps.
Yeah.
Speed bumps deter traffic, cause damage, get broken, get worn out.
Speed bumps go from 2 to 5 miles an hour.
Right.
A speed hump is 15 to 25, they say.
One article Glenn sent out from the Akron Beacon Journal, it was 5,500 for, they're not a speed bump,
Speed tables.
speed table.
Yeah, they're like a
If
table.
anybody didn't get, they're not quite the same thing. A hump and a table are similar.
I'm wondering, in Zanesville, around their schools, they have, it's not like a big one, it's just, and I think that might be what they have, and they have them all along the main roads around the schools.
Can you just put like rumble strips up?
Yeah, see, that's what I'm thinking, just the little strips and put 10 of them right there, going in and out of town.
As long
Get your
as
attention.
they can be removable,
Right.
so that when it comes season where we got the plows out, they don't just destroy it and then start all over.
Right, yeah, I think we need something like that.
I did notice the ones in Akron, they were putting in between April and October, and then they must be taking them
They
out
take
for
them out
snow
in the winter.
removal. So that would still leave us a speeding problem
Right.
half a year.
Right.
And the ones that Chad shared with us and the ones that I shared a couple of days ago, both have markings on them. They merge well with putting crosswalks. Crosswalk was requested specifically by some of the residents we talked to.
So, yeah,
How about having a deputy set up there for a while?
right. I
A
mean,
lot of people said that.
They need to set several places in town, but that would be one place to start. I know they need to be down on corner of Second and Sycamore down there. They could set that driveway down there in line if they like, but that would be a good place just to set them for, they don't have to be there very long. They only have to get just a few people. And then it becomes in people's mind, just like, we better slow down here. There might be something up there somewhere.
Yep.
So,
But I think so with the light, I think we run into the same situation we're in right now. Is that light's how long is that light gonna stay green? Can we change it for, every 30 seconds to go? Or is it gonna stay 5 minutes, 30 seconds,
Still going.
5 minutes, 30 seconds? So we're not really accomplishing anything with the light. I think if anything, we need to put stop signs up, maybe buy the ones that light up, like Glenn said, and
Hey, Chad, the stop signs are already bought and they light up. So tell us when you want us to put them up.
put them
And
up
then
tomorrow.
I'll let Max go into the meat and potatoes of the story.
So like Mark said, the stop signs are here. They'll be put on the east-west lanes. They got solar power. They blink. They're really nice. The light will come down. ODOT was out there today, totally recommends taking it down. We will install another ped crossing on the northeast side. There's not one there. You'll have 4 crosswalks. You have 3 there now. We'll add a 4th and dress up the other 3. And as part of the warrant study, that signal was the least warranted signal in the city. And that was part of the grant process, that we needed to look like we were getting rid of unwarranted traffic lights. And so that's the one that was picked. That's the one that ODOT heavily agrees with. So that's kind of where we're at. The poles will be taken down. The light will be taken down. That was one of our 1952 vintage lights. In fact, ODOT wants it for a museum when we remove it. So unless I hear different, that's the direction I'm going right now with that intersection.
Okay, here's somebody that'll tell you something different. I think
Sure.
everybody knows Chuck Hathaway. Among other things, Chuck is a graduate civil engineer, and he sent me copies of the information, the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices, the MUTCD. Stop sign is not an effective means to control speeding. High incidences of intentional violations resulting in accidents. Drivers tend to speed up between stop sign controlled intersections. 20% of all drivers come to a complete stop. 40 to 60 come to a rolling stop. 20 to 40 pass right through. Signs on major and collector streets for the purpose of speed reduction are the most flagrantly violated. Ordinarily, a multi-way stop sign should be used only where the volume of traffic is nearly equal on both intersecting roads. In situations where the volume is extremely heavy, a traffic light is more effective. I know we can't afford a traffic light, but it's an argument against stop signs. And he also pointed out that Harold Hitchens completely agreed with him. I haven't heard that from Harold, but I don't think Chuck would make something like that up.
And with that said, I trust Chuck, but I also trust ODOT and traffic signal warrant studies. So if I had to, if we had no information to go off of, I would say, hey, let's study it. We have the good info from ODOT, and I think we can always. I was talking to Kaylee today, and we can always go back and change something if it doesn't work. And what we're doing here is we're going to change something. If it doesn't work, I agree. Enforcement is the number one avenue I'd like to pursue. But I think we've already all had that discussion. But we need to try something, and if that doesn't work, then we'll try something else. So I don't think if we do this and it doesn't work, then let's go to plan B. So that's where I'm at with it.
I talked with Mark today about it, and I said, I think we need, if we put the stop sign up, then we need to put those speed controls back up again, and we need to do another week of that after the stop signs have been there, and then look, before and after, is it really affecting the speed or not?
Yeah.
And I
Go
think
from there.
the speed bump rumble thing, the email that you sent out, Chad, today, they were much less expensive
Mhm.
than the 5,500.
Mhm.
So it might be worth it to consider
Yeah,
putting
I-
some
I
of
think
those
you
up
can buy,
before
like,
also.
10 of the little strips
Yeah.
for like $189.
Yeah,
And, $400, we can put them on both sides going out and into town.
yeah.
So,
But yeah, I definitely think that we need to try it, put the speed signs back up, see if it's effective, and then if it's not, like Mark said, we can go from there.
I agree.
I agree.
Max, do you have anything else?
No, I'll investigate the rumble strips. You may be able to just scarify the blacktop in that area like they do there on Route 60, if if you're coming,
Mhm.
before you get to the old road there,
Thank you.
those are supposed to wake you up coming through there. So
Something like that, just to get your attention.
Yeah, I agree. All right, okay. Law director?
Just to finish what the mayor was talking about with our tragic murder that happened. The mayor asked me to take a look at that house and try to find the quickest way to take it down. It is owned by a gentleman that passed away this past summer. My understanding is nearest relatives are a brother and a grandchild and lives in Pittsburgh. Neither of them have sought to probate the estate so that the property could be transferred. And the reason is that basically you could fall through the floor. It's a worthless piece of property. And the gentleman had been in a nursing home for a long period of time. So I'm sure there is a Medicaid lien that would fall against the property anyway. So there's really no incentive for any of the family members to probate the estate. For me to do that, I would have to file it with the court on behalf of the city of Coshocton. Because there's no will, we would have to publish. I would have to then be appointed as the administrator. I would have to notify Medicaid to see what their lien is. And eventually the court would give me permission to tear down the house, assuming nobody objected to it that may have a lien against that property. That process, with all the publications and other things that I would have to do, would probably cost the city, just in court costs, not lawyer fees. I would do that for free, probably around $800 to $900. The problem is the time frame would take probably close to a year. The quicker way is the property is about 6 months delinquent in real estate taxes, and nobody has any incentive to pay those real estate taxes. Now, typically after the properties have been delinquent for a year, the county then files real estate tax foreclosures. They go up for auction. Nobody would bid on this property, and then eventually go up for an auditor sale. That process could start in September. But I have spoken to the county about moving that process up and allowing us to do a tax foreclosure, even though it's only 6 months delinquent. And I think I have permission to do that. So that'll speed up the process compared to me filing the estate. And that's what we're currently going to pursue. Even if we can't do it and we have to wait till it becomes a year delinquent, I think that process would be quicker than filing the estate. So that's where we're at. In the meantime, as the mayor said, the county prosecutor has asked that that house not be destroyed because it is evidence. And who knows when that trial would ever go forward. So in the meantime, I will work on the tax foreclosure and moving that process forward. And then when the county prosecutor no longer needs that house, hopefully we will then be in position to tear it down. That's all I have unless there's questions.
Questions? Okay, thank you. Auditor?
Hello, I don't have anything, other than just one item tonight, other than your, normal stuff that already, appropriations that's on the agenda for tonight. But with the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, the $1.9 trillion economic COVID stimulus package, we are slated to receive money for that. And with that, we are required to establish a fund, a separate fund for that. So I'm assuming you're all in agreement of receiving the allotted money over the next, I think it's 2 years. They haven't stated exactly 100% sure when that's going to come in, but if we want to go ahead and do the ordinance to establish that fund, I can get that information to Cherry, and at least it'll be passed by you guys to be able to accept the money into it whenever it's released. So if you're okay with that, I'll get that information to Cherry.
Yes.
Yes, for next meeting, for the next meeting?
Yeah, and it can take its course.
Okay,
There's
and
plenty
the
of time.
appropriations needs 3 readings, right? Is that correct?
Yes, tonight,
Okay,
please,
3
yes.
readings, okay. Okay, anybody have any questions? All right. Property code investigator, Jeff, do you have anything?
Just to let you know that we have hired one of our college students back that we had last year. He started working with Corey on mowing properties that we are starting to get complaints on. So we will be sending him out, and then we will be charging the cost off to the property owner through their property taxes as we have in the past. Other than that, I guess the other thing that is, I think a lot of people are excited that I'm hearing about is the UTV ordinance and the amendment to that. The UTV ordinance is doing well. I've done like 75 or 76 UTVs since this thing went in last fall. They're talking about a UTV rodeo out at the fairgrounds in August. So, you know, with people coming in from out of the city and out of state, we thought this would be a good way for them to at least be able to operate in the city legally. And of course, the city could get some revenue out of it. We can also, with that, limit that they can only operate from 7 in the morning to 11 at night. That way we don't have them out running around all night long on the city streets, because, you know, they can make problems, then go home and not have to face a mirror. So we're working on that.
Jeff, speaking of UTVs, thank you. I'm having a lot of loud UTVs in my area. Have we had reports in general around the city?
No, to my knowledge, haven't heard complaints about them. You know, if they're loud, you just need to contact the sheriff's office, because they would need to regulate that, because they are stipulated that they have to have a muffler system. So, you know, if they get stopped and they've got a proper muffler system, there's not much we're going to do with that. But, you know, they all have stickers prominently displayed on the left side of the black and yellow stickers that we issue. And I did send a copy of that with Lieutenant Hardway here a couple weeks ago, and ask him to have his deputies be sure to check the UTVs that they see running around and make sure that they are registered. And if not, they're an unregistered vehicle and they need to do something with them.
Any questions? Okay, thank you. All right. Do we have anything from any of our committees? No. Tonight? Or anything else we need to address before? Before 7 o'clock? No? Okay, all right. I have 6:42, so we'll come back at 7 o'clock.
Okay, this would be
Oh, yeah.
So that's
20 minutes.
Yeah.
That stays live, right? That stays live the whole time.
I don't think so.
No, it's live. Is there? There's one in Max's room.
Sharon can be the designated flag.
Right?
There's one on Max.
There's Max's.
Maybe Max will lead it.
Max.
Yeah.
Max, do you want to lead the pledge? You have a flag behind you? We don't have one.
Sure.
Thank you.
I always try to turn this computer a little bit so you guys got a flag, so.
Thanks, Max.
Kaylee,
Yeah.
heads up, I ran out of my sheet and I had to redo it real quick. And so tonight it's alphabetical again.
Hey, sounds good.
That's mine, Glenn. Yours is good.
Yeah.
You've never got in, you don't know my combination.
I don't think I know mine.
Mine's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
You got stuck after 5.
I wanted to hit it twice, but
Yeah.
not much on.
What? Three things. Are we letting the UTV one take its course? Did you guys talk about that last meeting or?
I think it's just gonna take its
I
course.
think
Take
it
its
was
course?
Yeah, I think
two,
so.
yeah, I don't- I
Okay,
was trying
so
to
we
think
only
if there
have the
was a
one
change,
that is
yeah.
gonna get the readings, okay? All right.
Longer last meeting.
It's kind of like you're sitting at the time clock.
Shit, yeah, not Bill yet either.
All right, I have 7. All right. Good evening, everyone. Today's date is April 26th, and it's 7 p.m. and this is a regular scheduled council meeting. Clerk, will you call the roll?
Andrews,
Here.
Barcroft,
Here.
Gross,
Here.
Johnson,
Here.
Mishler,
Here.
Moore,
Here.
Turner.
Here.
All right. Max is going to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. Mr. Gross, you lead us.
Father, again, we thank you for the opportunity to be here and to represent the city of Coshocton. Keep our hearts, our minds and hearts clear as we do your business. We pray this in your name. Amen.
Thank you. Okay, council, you should have received minutes from the last council meeting on April 12th. Are there any questions or comments, Rob, about the minutes?
I'll make a motion, the minutes be approved.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Johnson, second by Moore. Clerk, call the roll.
Andrews,
Yes.
Barcroft,
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Mishler,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
All right. Clerk, do we have any public input for tonight's meeting?
I have not received any.
Okay, thank you. Any standing committee reports? Okay. All right, we will go to the mayor's report.
Happy Monday, everyone. I'm glad it's almost over. Wanted to update everyone on Preservation Arts Task Force, which I created. We had our first meeting last week, which brings together the library, the Pomerine Center for the Arts, the schools, local business, also have some Roscoe connection with that. Our town as well is involved in that. And basically looking to, preserve old buildings, where, next steps for the Pomerine Arts Center, since they're out of their house now, working with Ann on locating an area that we can put them, just really a good discussion with community members in all areas and aspects. Love when I can get to sit down and collaborate with people in our community in different areas and see how we can effectively work together to, accomplish a goal. So it's in its infancy. It was a very good meeting, and just look forward to that progressing. Talked to Councilwoman Turner about heading up a committee for a bike path. My vision is to run the path from Kids America all the way to the path at County Road 1A, ultimately connecting Lake Park to Kids America. So if you can envision being able to go all the way through Coshocton, from Kids America to Lake Park, it's a huge vision. It is a lot of funding. It's a lot of organizations coming together. I've had an initial meeting with County Engineer Fred Wachtel. Also had a meeting with the President and Director of the Ohio and Erie Canalway Coalition, who's involved heavily in developing paths. So it's in its infancy. Want to get the community excited about that opportunity. A lot of people have to work together to get that done. So me and Michelle will be meeting at some point to get the ball rolling on that project. I want to remind residents to clean up around their properties, mow your grass. If you don't mow it, we will, and then it will be charged to your taxes. So just want people to, if your grass is a foot high and all your neighbor's grass is not a foot high, it's probably time to mow it. So rather than us babysitting you, take the initiative to get outside and mow your grass and clean your property up. The last thing I'm going to leave you with is jobs. Many unfilled positions around our city and as well as our county. There's a pop-up job fair Wednesday, May 6th from 12 to 3 at the Coshocton Elks Lodge. If you don't have anything going on, I recommend a job. What better thing to do with your idle time than to go out and work hard for your money. So if you need help preparing a resume, the lower level of the JFS building, there is a whole opportunity center for you to brush up on your resume, on your employability skills, on your interviewing skills. Everyone's begging for employees right now. So get out. Maybe you'll find a better position than what you have now. So just ask the community to get out and get a job, get involved, and become a tax-paying citizen, because we enjoy the benefits of people's hard work here within our city, and it keeps the wheels of government turning. So just want to ask, get out and get engaged and get a job.
Okay. Any questions or comments for the mayor? All right. Safety Service Director's report.
As I mentioned in committee, I would like to thank all the residents and organizations that come out and supported our city cleanup day on April 17th. As you know, that's a joint effort between the city and Lynn Miser with the United Way. So we collected about 3,500 pounds of waste in the bags, and we appreciate everybody's efforts that participated. Mentioned we're heavily into cemetery mowing right now. The grass is growing about as quick as we can mow it, so which is a good thing. Would like to get in the minutes that we are in the process of working with the Civil Service Commission for hiring a new fire chief. Chief Layton's last day will be April 30th. On May 1st, Captain Mills will begin serving as our acting fire chief. He brings a lot of years of experience in our local firehouse, and I look forward to working with him. And I did mention we will be live by Friday on the water going to West Lafayette. So it's been a good project for us, and we're coming in about a month ahead of where we thought we would be. So we'll continue on installing the meters. As I stated before, I think we got about 550 installed to date. So that leaves about 400 more to install. So, and any questions?
Any questions or comments? All right, thanks. Law Director's report?
I have nothing in addition to what we talked about at the committee meeting unless there's questions.
Okay, thanks. All right, Auditor's report?
I don't have anything this evening unless you have a question for me. I'll be happy to answer any.
Any questions for the auditor? All right. Sheriff's report.
Good evening. I don't have anything to add other than, unless in case you have any questions on what I submitted earlier.
Any questions for the sheriff?
I'd just like to thank the sheriff and the sheriff's department for their quick resolution of the issue last week. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, property code investigator.
Other than what we talked about at committee meeting, just some things I'd like to remind the community. Keep the grass out of the streets when you mow. It's a safety hazard for motorcyclists, number one. Number two, it clogs our storm sewers. Then we have big rains and we have flooding issues. So please, when you mow, if you can mow with your discharge towards the sidewalk instead of towards the street, it's an easy cleanup that way. Trash containers are not to stay at the curb. They need to be removed within 24 hours of trash pickup, and they can't be set out at the curb more than 24 hours prior to trash pickup. So getting some complaints that they're being left out, and like to see those back off the streets. If you have stuffed furniture that you set out, or you have mattresses you set out, those need to be wrapped or Kimball will not pick them up. So we need to make sure that you get them in a bag, and if you don't have bags, bags can be picked up at City Hall. We have some that we can hand out. And unless you have other questions, that's all I have.
Okay, do we need to talk about the DORA so it's reflected in the minutes? Bob, is that what we need to do?
No. Cherry, I guess if Cherry just put in the minutes that the application was filed with City Council and with the clerk, that's really all we need.
All right, thank you. All right, anything else for property code investigator this time? All right. Clerk, do you have any other reports that were emailed? Okay, all right, we're going to go into legislation. We have ordinance 1621. I'll ask the clerk to read the first reading of 1621.
An ordinance to amend the City of Coshocton Codified Ordinance 376, utility task vehicles.
You have heard the first reading of 16-21. Are there any questions or discussion?
Doesn't sound like it.
All right, I think it's going to take its course. All right. All right. Ordinance 17-21. I'll ask the- Oh, sorry. Go ahead, clerk, read the first reading.
Appropriations.
You've heard the first reading of 17-21. Are there any questions or discussion?
I'll move we suspend the rules and give 1721 a second reading.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Moore, second by Turner. Clerk, please call the roll.
Andrews,
Yes.
Barcroft,
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Mishler,
Yes,
Moore,
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
I'll ask the clerk to give a second reading of 17-21.
Appropriations.
You've heard the second reading of 17-21. Are there any questions or discussion?
Make a motion to suspend the rules and give it a third reading.
I'll second.
Motion by Johnson, second by Barcroft. Clerk, call the roll.
Andrews,
Yes.
Barcroft, Gross,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Mishler,
Yes,
Moore,
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
I'll ask the clerk to give a third reading to 17-21.
Appropriations,
You've heard the third reading of 17-21. If you don't have any questions or discussions, we shall pass this ordinance. Clerk, please call the roll.
Andrews,
Yes.
Barcroft,
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Mishler,
yes,
Moore,
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Ordinance 17-21 is adopted. Okay, legislation at second reading, 14-21. Clerk, will you please read the second reading of 14-21?
An ordinance establishing rules and regulations regarding open burning in the city of Coshocton.
You've heard the second reading of 14-21. Are we going to continue to let this take its course? Okay, all right. We have no legislation at third reading, no resolutions. Any old business? Any new business to share? Okay. Communications from the clerk.
Yes. From the Ohio Division of Liquor Control, the Army Navy 628 has applied for a transfer of a liquor license from VFW Post 1330 John Bando. Any objections, or do you want to have a hearing?
No objections.
Okay. Also, they sent a notice that it's that time of year, they all have to be renewed by July the 1st. So I'll be bringing them as I receive them.
Thank you, clerk. Okay. Motion to adjourn,
So move.
Barcroft.
Second.
Second by Johnson. Thank you.
you want to vote?
Call roll.
Oh, clerk, call the roll.
Andrews,
Yes.
Barcroft,
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Mishler,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Have a good evening.
Good night.
You.